Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. Before we begin, please don't forget that my book, On New Terms, Gender Transition Redefined for Adults, that has amazing reviews on Amazon. Thank you everybody who has been posting their reviews, is now available completely for free in PDF format for you. Link below. And before I forget, make sure if you haven't already, to again, link below, follow me on Instagram because that's where that's the only platform other than YouTube that I use right now. That's where you get to connect with me. You can ask me direct questions. That's where I'm building community. And that's where I create 60 seconds or less tips and guidance, little videos, and a lot of other great things on there. So make sure you connect with me on Instagram. So having said that and got that out of the way, let's get started. What I want to talk about today is number one reason why so many of you still struggle to make that step forward. This is going to be a fantastic video for anybody that is questioning their gender identity, and maybe you want to, for you, the first step is going to be to reach out to a professional. Maybe you already know what your gender identity is. You know you're struggling with dysphoria. And for you, that first step is perhaps calling an online hormone clinic or visiting actually physical clinic where you reside in order to start getting hormones. Whatever it is for you, this is a video for individuals who know they have to make that first step, including those people who, for example, already in transition and are now on a kind of debating whether you should have any kind of surgeries and your fear is holding you back. That's also going to be a video for you. I see in my practice consistently people being afraid, terrified, scared to make that first step. And one of the things that I tend to do when I work with my clients individually is I tend to help my clients understand where this fear is coming from. What is it that prevents them from taking the step forward? Because oftentimes what happens to a lot of you is as a result of not taking the step, that first step, a lot of you then tend blame yourself, feel very guilty. Months, weeks, years pass by, and now you're looking back and you're thinking, oh my God, I should have taken that step back then. So you berate yourself. And that type of berating, that type of guilt, that type of sense of I should have, but I didn't, only pulls you back and keeps you further away from achieving your goals. And I don't want for you to experience it. I want all of you to have happy, thriving, joyful lives and not constantly combating back and forth this part of you that wants to take a step forward and can't. So why is it that so many of you want to take that step forward and yet you can't? Is it fear? Is it fear of regret? Is it wondering whether you're going to make a mistake? What is it exactly? Well, as it turns out, yes, it is all of those things, but all of those things are orchestrated by your mind. And they're all orchestrated by your mind, primarily because your mind, evolutionary, has evolved and adapted to prevent us human beings from stepping into big changes because our brain perceives any big changes and gender transition, figuring out your gender identity, deciding on going through gender surgery are big changes. And for that reason, your brain perceives and sees this as a big change and then takes a step further, now alarms the part of your neurological circuit that now there's a threat. It's a threat to safety. This change equals lack of safety. This change equals you're going to feel unsafe. You're going to feel not secure. You're going to feel like you lost your anchor. You're going to feel like you can't handle it. This is what's happening. And as a result, for so many of you, your brain then kicks into a mechanism where it starts justifying, rationalizing, self-sabotaging, and creating resistance-like mindset in order to prevent you from moving forward. This is what our brain does. If you ever look back at your life with anything that involved any big change, it always followed with this. It always followed with sense of resistance, self-sabotage. Change is not easy to do. Think about it. If big change was easy to do, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be happy. Everybody would be stepping forward and taking those steps. And the reason why we don't, again, our brain perceives it as threat. So it sends us all of those signals that this is unsafe, that this is scary, that this is terrifying. Okay? So what are you supposed to do? It's almost like your will, your knowing, because a lot of you do know you got to take those first steps. A lot of you already consciously, cognitively realize the first steps are not only important for you, but also incredibly vital for your health. You know that for some of you, that first step is life saving. And I think this is why a lot of you feel, how should I say it? A lot of my clients, what happens is that they meet with me again and again, and they're not taking that step, and then they just feel so bad. They show up and say, Dr. Z, I feel so incapable. I feel so as if I'm broken, I'm defective. We're talking about this, Dr. Z, and I understand this step is the one that I need to make. It is important for me. And yet, why am I still not taking it? So there's the sense of responsibility and almost like you let yourself down. And that type again of guilt really drags you down. And I don't want any of you to feel that way. Because again, your mind, while you consciously can't know what to do, you're also fighting the mastermind, that evolutionary mastermind of our old reptilian brain. Here is the number one thing that I recommend that works wonders. You have to understand this one little thing. You have to implement it in your life. Because your brain perceives this big change as a threat to safety, because your brain doesn't see all the little steps leading up to the change that you're going to have to take. All your brain is seeing is this huge mountain. And that huge mountain is whatever it is you conceptualized in terms of what you're afraid of. Your brain is perceiving, oh my God, you're going to have to transition. And that means everybody's going to leave you and you're going to be all by yourself and you're going to lose your job. You're not going to be able to pass and you'll never find somebody to love and yada, 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 yada. Your brain sees all of that. And no wonder your brain is trying to protect you from this big fear mountain. But your brain doesn't see all the little tiny steps leading up to that. Your brain doesn't see how all those little steps are going to positively affect and change your life better. Your brain doesn't see how all those little steps are going to make your health drastically improve. It doesn't see how much less depressed, less anxious, and happier you're going to be. And the reason why your brain doesn't see all those little things is because you're not there yet. We cannot experience and feel things until they happen to us. Again, we cannot experience and feel the things until they happen to us. This is why so many people go back and forth. Should I have top surgery? Should I not have top surgery? Is it a good idea to do it? Is it a bad idea to do it? What if I'm going to regret it? I don't know. And then when they do it, they realize, oh my God, this is so much better. Why? Because your perspective shifted. Why? Because you experienced it. Again, your brain cannot understand something unless it's actually experienced it. So, yes, your brain is scared. Yes, it is terrified. One thing that you can do to combat this is to do one tiny micro step in this direction. One tiny micro step, that is it. Not one giant leap, one tiny micro step. For some of you, it might be calling up professionals, setting up an appointment. For others of you, it might be coming out. For others of you, it might be making that phone call to the clinic and making an appointment for the hormones. It's one small micro step. I want you to realize that anytime on a path, you can stop. This is how you control your fear. You remind yourself that you can stop at any point. Another thing about this fear is that a lot of you think that if you are making that first step, that's it. There's no, you cross the point of no return. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. This is not, that movie scene, Miss Congeniality, where Sandra Bullock is all disheveled and she walks, you just have to give her a makeover as an agent, and she walks into this warehouse, in case if you have seen it. She walks into this warehouse and there's this all beauticians and masterminds. They're working on her for hours and hours, and then we see the doors open up and she comes out as amazing beauty. Transition doesn't work like this. It's not meant to work like that. The point I'm trying to make is that you're not going to have a drastic change overnight. Your brain is going to have time to adjust. And with each adjustment, your brain, this is why you're taking micro steps. Your brain needs to realize that, oh, it's not a threat to your safety, is it? Oh my God, you took this first step and you're feeling better as a result of it? Oh, so this is a good thing for us. Your brain needs to get on the same page with your cognitive, with your conscious understanding that you need this. Once your brain gets on the same page, this part of you that is so terrified gets on the same page, that's when things are going to get easier. That's when you can start taking bigger steps. That's when yes, you're still going to be afraid. Yes, it's still going to be challenging, but it's going to be so much easier because you're going to have traction of all of this behind you. This is the best thing you can do for yourself. Because again, by taking the little micro steps, you are demonstrating this part of your brain that is so terrified, that is kicking in this response, our safety is in danger. You're teaching this part of the brain that no, our safety is not in danger. Actually, our safety is in danger if we don't do anything about this. That's what you're teaching your brain, and that's how adaptability, I can't even speak, adaptability and shifts are going to happen. Micro steps. Comment below, what is your micro step today? It can be really small. It's all about taking small action. Remember, action follows small action. It's all about taking small action. But again, your brain doesn't realize how all of these little micro steps are going to benefit you because it cannot recognize something it has not yet felt nor experienced. And you need to experience it in small doses. And you yourself need to experience it so you feel more confident, so you feel more empowered, so you feel more affirmed. And that's how the steps are going to be taken. Every client I work with who is in the state of mind of that complete, this is threat to my safety type of brain response, this is what we do. We take small steps. And you know what happens? They don't come back to me anymore and saying, I don't know what's wrong with me, Dr. Z, why can't I take this step? They come back and they're like, shit, I did it. Okay, I feel better. All right. What's my next step, Dr. Z? Before you know it, you'll be conditioned asking yourself, what are your next steps? This is how you're going to commit. So comment below, let me know what your thoughts are. What's one micro step you're going to do? And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.